Romney flip-flopped again. He's trying to take credit for saving the auto industry.
I'm not willing to sit back and say too bad for Michigan, too bad for the car industry.
After he proposed letting the auto industry die.
That's exactly what I said. Let Detroit go bankrupt. I am intimately familiar with how our economy works. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people. So, where do you think it goes? Whose pockets? Whose pockets?
A story of greed, playing the system for a quick buck. A group of corporate raiders led by Mitt Romney. More ruthless than Wall Street. For tens of thousands of Americans, the suffering began when Mitt Romney came to town. Marianna, Florida.
They did sell us. We were sold to
a teachers union out of Canada. What does teachers know about wash machines?
Romney and Bain's sale to the Canadians netted a whopping 230% profit for Romney and his investors. The deal left behind a trail of wreckage.
I'm convinced that if you want to create jobs, it helps to have had a job. And I've had jobs. And I'll use that experience to help America.
Popular children's toy seller, KB Toys. Romney and other top executives take $120 million. By 2009, the debt accumulated under Romney was too great. KB Toys was no more.
Make a profit. That's the name of the game, right?
Romney and Bain's profits, at the expense of 15,000 jobs, was described by the Boston Herald as disgusting. Helped by a favorable rating from Bain's Wall Street friends, DDI's 12 million share IPO raised a quick $170 million. People were buying into the promise that DDI was headed to become a billion-dollar company. Then, instead of sticking with the stock, Bain dumped it. Just after 6 months, Bain sold shares, making $39 million. Then they dumped the rest, just 4 months later, collecting $54 million more. All the while, the Wall Street banks they hired gave cover, issuing glowing reports. DDI ended up losing $400 million. A little over 2 years later, the stock was nearly worthless. The result? DDI filed for bankruptcy. 2,100 jobs were lost. Average investors without insider connections were left with huge losses.
I spent my life in the real economy. And I mean by that, I didn't just watch jobs get created and saved. I did that myself.
You know, look, I've been very, very clear that the science just simply doesn't back up the issue of global warming. I mean,
oil.
Drill. Everywhere.
Coal?
Absolutely. Natural gas, coal.
What about global warming?
There is no such thing as global warming. It is, in my opinion.
I referred to global warming as not climate science, but political science. Well, a lot of these environmental sciences are just that. They're political science. They have nothing to do with real cost-benefit analysis, real understanding of how we have to value both the environment and its impact on man and the world. Think about what this president is doing. Here we are now coming up in the summertime, when if we had a pipeline being built right now, and it could be being built right now the president could sign an order to build that pipeline. We'd have the construction jobs and we'd have the knowledge of the industry that all of this oil production would be coming online.
So when you hear Big Oil and their supporters in Congress call Keystone XL a national jobs plan,
if you don't want to build this pipeline to create 20,000 American jobs,
you want to say, wait a minute, are you kidding me? A single pipeline is not a jobs plan. And they've repeatedly and wildly exaggerated job numbers.
Possibly 500,000 other jobs that could happen.
It could provide up to 1 million new high-paying jobs.
That 20,000 number, which comes from the pipeline company, has been heavily disputed. There is an independent analysis by Cornell that says the number would probably be closer to 2,000 or 3,000 jobs, and that they would not be long-term. They would probably be construction jobs, building the pipeline itself, which would take a couple of years, and that would be the end.
Probably looking at in the field from Montana to Houston, I don't know, in the hundreds. It's certainly not in the thousands, because those are construction jobs.
And the people pushing hardest for this project have voted down real job proposals again and again and again. You'll also hear Big Oil say that we need XL pipeline for security.
Make us more vulnerable to the Iranians.
Well, energy security comes from reducing our dependence on oil, not from increasing it for a pipeline that would leave us with all the risk. Now, much of this oil was not heading for your gas tank anyway, but for export to foreign markets. I think the real and more important point is that real economic security is found in clean energy. That's our future, not in dirty energy that is tied to non-renewable energy sources, an energy that threatens us with spills and public health and safety impacts and ever worsening harm from climate change. It's clean energy that will produce new and plentiful jobs for generations to come. And I'm particularly concerned about the young people of tomorrow. What are we going to give them? What are we going to provide for them that gives them a platform to carry on this great country we live in? So because Big Oil may have lost for the moment, it's probably not going to be the end of the fight. This is the beginning of a real battle for America's energy future. And I hope that you can pay close attention and search out the real facts. Thank you.
Romney and Bain's profits at the expense of 15,000 jobs was described by the Boston Herald as disgusting.
What about global warming?
There is no such thing as global warming. It is, in my opinion...
If you don't want to build this pipeline to create 20,000 American jobs...
Wait a minute, are you kidding me? A single pipeline is not a jobs plan.
That 20,000 number, which comes from the pipeline company, has been heavily disputed. There is an independent analysis by Cornell that says the number would probably be closer to 2,000 or 3,000 jobs, and that they would not be long-term. They would probably be construction jobs, building the pipeline itself, which would take a couple of years, and that would be the end.